Doolin, County Clare, the gateway to the Aran Islands. You go on the ferry from the pier. It's only 15 minutes across to Inisheer Island. It was pretty stormy and bumpy the day I went over, but thankfully it was only that 15 minutes to get there. The island of Inisheer is the easternmost and closest of the Aran Islands to the mainland of Ireland. It's a little bit quieter than the others, I believe, or at least than its big brother Inisheer. When you land on the island first, you see quite a lot of houses and you think maybe it's highly populated, and I believe there's about 200 people on the island. But once you start walking any of the loop walks, you very quickly get yourself out into the countryside, and it's beautiful. Lots of lovely coastal walks, quiet lanes, very few cars. I met a couple of people walking dogs, a lady walking her child in a buggy. It's a little bit like the Burren in miniature. Lots of limestone and lots of little fields and monuments such as the one I've just shown, or sculptures. The beaches, there are very few, I think just the one, are not practically non-existent because it's all stone and rock. They have tiny little fields, probably because they need all the stone walls they can get to use up the stones lying about and clear the land for use in agriculture. They still grow potatoes the traditional way in the sand and seaweed. I didn't see any sheep on the island, but there are lots of cattle. And of course, the obligatory church. Beautiful place. Dedicated to Saint Gubnat. I did the west of the island first, and then went over to the eastern side. There were some old buildings, castles, forts, old Coast Guard station. None of them were accessible, unfortunately, but you can see them pretty well from the road. And of course the local livestock looking on. Lots of little flowers growing in the warm limestone. The main protocol for people seems to be to take a horse and cart out around by the lake, the only fresh water on the island apart from wells, out to the MV Plassey, the relatively famous shipwreck known for its appearance on Father Ted. It even has its own burger van now. I took a careful walk around it. It's fairly rusty and I wouldn't like to go near too close to it. It's starting to crumble quite badly. But you can hop from rock to rock and get around it and get a good look at it. I believe it's there since about 1960. The The sea has taken its toll, well and truly. After I'd done this, it was evening time and time to find somewhere to camp. So I head off to the south of the island, to the lighthouse. There's no houses around it, so it's relatively quiet and isolated. A lovely roadway runs up to it. There are a couple of beautiful buildings in the compound, old houses that unfortunately are no longer lived in. It was just gorgeous down there. The sun was splitting the stones, and I took a walk around on the outside. I didn't go in because there are lots of signs saying no entry. I didn't want to get myself in any kind of bother. Coastline here is rugged and beautiful, and it was a perfect place to think about pitching a tent. The rain was coming on, not a lot thankfully, but there were a few showers overnight. It was a great spot for photography if that was what you're into. Even me, the amateur with my phone. Next morning, I got a nice sunrise, and I was up early, had a nice leisurely breakfast, and cleared up, leaving no trace as usual. There's me, Lucy, and the lighthouse. And then it was time to move on. Here's the monument that I saw with the Charlie Bird's name on it. I must have been there on some walk or other. And then I continued on inland, away from the coast, following the lovely little laneways, many of them with green strips in the middle. I met a man in a van and a man on a tractor. Other than that, I met nobody until I got back to the pier. Being Sunday morning, it was very, very quiet. Enjoy these clips of the wild Atlantic. And a final shot of the lighthouse at night. Thank you.